Prologue. A suburb near Springfield, Massachusetts. Tuesday. Survival of the fittest, he thought. Natural selection. He had watched the sandy-haired girl walk unaware from the convenience store to her car, a rusting black Volkswagen two-door with a frayed ragtop. To him, she had been nothing. Now, as she lay before him, her skin beginning to pale and emit a waxy sheen, she was still nothing. She was not Julie Piedmont, as her ID stated. She was not 21 and just about to graduate college. She did not have 4 brothers and 2 loving parents. She was merely an object for him to use for his game. She was a puzzle that he had to take apart so that society could try to put it back together again. Abducting her had been easier than he thought it would have been. He followed her beaten-up convertible for 3 blocks until it teetered into the parking lot of the coffee shop. He sat, patient as a cat in front of a goldfish bowl, while she worked her evening shift. He watched her swim about the diner, back and forth, filling and refilling cups and serving perfectly cut triangles of pie, sweeping into her apron the pittance of tips left by customers who had spent hours sitting and sipping until finally, the digital clock on his dashboard read 10 o'clock, and he saw her gather her coat, wave goodnight to the evening manager, and step back into the early fall air and walk towards her car. It was over before she knew what happened. He supposed this thought would be a comfort to her friends, to her 4 brothers, to her mother with the gray roots peeking out from her scalp, and to her father, who pursed his lips and did his best not to break into tears as the ravenous media carved out their pounds of flesh. With one crack to the back of her head with a tire iron, she dropped to the ground in the shadow beside her car. He had worn sneakers because he knew they made him stealthy, silent. He had worn black clothing, but nothing too obvious. There was no use skulking around in a black hooded sweatshirt if it made suspicious passers-by look twice at his face or his Buick. Just as he had practiced in his garage using bags of cement innumerable times, he quickly tossed her limp body into his trunk and quietly closed the door. Natural selection. Philosopher Herbert Spencer had coined the phrase first, long before Darwin ever explained the concept, decades before humans regularly produced gaggles of offspring only to watch them thinned by disease and misfortune. The gray tree frog camouflages itself against predators. The Galapagos finches develop beaks to fit the types of food they eat. England's peppered moth, for instance, once appeared with equally light-colored wings and dark ones. Once the coal-burning factories began to dot the nation, however, the dark-winged version easily concealed itself in the soot and ash residue that stained every surface. By the time the 20th century began, nearly all of the peppered moths possessed dark wings. Dennis had taken, and excelled, in biology, botany, and human anatomy courses in college. He understood that, more than anything, the game known as survival of the fittest only worked when a substantial amount of the players died. Those who were left standing were the strongest, the smartest, the ones who would endure. He was a dark-winged moth. Julie, with her Hallmark Channel movie family, her Saturday morning cartoon social life, and her complete oblivion regarding the predators around her, was a white-winged moth. Her time had always been cursory.